You're a beast. Thanks, Lauren. And I know you're in the real estate business and you probably meet with people virtually as well. And, I really do believe that, having a quality Zoom setup really builds confidence in your customers versus like, scratchy looking video and bad audio. That's just my opinion and from my experience, but, take it as you will. So let's get into it. How can we improve our Zoom game? So I believe that 75% of the battle is audio. And, using your AirPods, really not the best option if you ask me. It's connected by Bluetooth, their battery, the Bluetooth can disconnect, the battery can die. You're in the middle of a meeting. Oh, sorry, my AirPods are dead. So not a good option. Have a professional mic, okay? So I'm going to show you a couple options you could use for that. So let's take a look over here. So this is a cheap mic, $79. It's a USB microphone. Most computers nowadays have a USB. It's not even USB-C. It's just a regular USB. Plug it into your laptop and just select that as your microphone source when you join the meeting. You can get a fancier version of it. But what's cool about this mic is that it also has an XLR input or output, I should say. So if you have a mixer or if you want to kind of go to the next level at a later date, it's good to have that option. Now, if you want to go on the more high-end option, you would go with something like a Heil PR40, which a lot of the sort of podcasters and live streamers use. And as you can see from the price tag, look at the nice sandals there. No, forget about it. We've got, around $500 to $1,000 different models. So, but this would be a tremendous improvement on your audio sound. Now, this type of microphone is XLR based. So it's a different type of connection than USB. You need a proper microphone cable, which is called an XLR cable. And now you can't plug that directly into a computer. So you need some type of an interface or a mixer. Now, if you're just getting started, the easiest thing to do is just to have an audio interface, something like this. And as you can see, it's got two inputs. So you just plug your microphone in there where it says gain, that's your volume. And it's also going to make the mic sound better as well. You can plug in your headphones there. You can monitor yourself so you can hear a little bit of side tone. You hear yourself talking in there. Or you can plug it into an external sound system. So that's the audio part. Then the next we'll go to the video part. So this is the Logitech C920. It's a very inexpensive camera, gives you full 1080p. In fact, I'm using this camera right now because my mirrorless camera kicked the bucket last week. So this is my backup. So this is what, it looks pretty good. Right out of the box, it looks okay, but there are some third-party softwares, there's an app called Webcam Settings you can get where you can actually control the exposure and the focus and the zoom of this camera. Logitech also makes some, but I don't love them. Didn't love it, but there's options on how you can actually control the camera settings. So yeah, very inexpensive and a go-to. At the beginning of the pandemic, these things were I don't know why this is in euros, but it's about $100, $120, depending where you look. Here in Canada, at the beginning of the pandemic, they were $200 and you couldn't find them anywhere. Then the next step up, you'd be looking at the Logitech Brio, which gives you 4K and some other things as well. Wider field of view. So that's, a little bit more money, $189. This one comes with the light, but I wouldn't spend that much extra for that kind of light. And then once you have your cameras, we have one more camera. So this is the next step up, which is what I've been using, except for today, is a Sony a6000 mirrorless camera. So the mirrorless camera is great. The problem with a lot of the sort of DSLR cameras is that they're not designed to stay on for long periods of time and streaming. Sometimes you'll like see the sort of the, the battery information and all that stuff. You need a clean HDMI out. That's what you really need from a camera for streaming, like a more professional quality one. And then you would need to get like a dummy battery. So it's just like, it looks like the regular battery that fits in there, but it just plugs into an outlet so that it keeps the camera on, and you don't need to worry about replacing batteries. So you can get really good quality out of this camera. You can attach different lenses to it, and then you're going to look really, really sharp. So now once you have your audio, you have your camera, then you're going to be thinking about lighting. So you could do something inexpensive like a soft box. Okay, you can get actually 2 soft boxes here for $100. And I've used these. These are great. I would say like the only con to them is that they take up a little bit of space. So, that's one option, but they look really good. The other option would be to go with something like an Elgato Keylight, which is a little bit more expensive. And this is what I have here on my desk. It's very, takes up no footprint. It can hook onto your desk. It's very thin. There's an app. You can control it from your computer. You can control the temperature, whether you want it like cool or warm. So it's a really, really great light. And even just one of them makes a huge difference. But if you're really interested in sort of the proper way to light a subject or yourself, this would kind of really be it, right? So you have 3 lights. You have your key light, which is right here on a 45-degree angle. And then you have your fill light, which would, you'd have shadows on this side of your face with just the key light. So this fills it. And then finally, you have your backlight or hair light, which is set higher and so kind of pointing down, or shooting down at the hair, which sort of gives some separation between the subject and the background. So that's lighting. Now, if you want to get a little bit fancier, you could think about an ATEM Mini. Now, this is useful if you have multiple cameras, if you're doing some type of a performance, or you have a camera that's pointing down at something, or you just have a different angle. This is a camera switcher. So you can plug your HDMI cameras into the back, and then you can swap between the sources. I have one of these. I'm not using it today, but the other good thing about it is that it can do the streaming for you. So it has software that comes with it. You can put in your stream key. It has an Ethernet cable in the back. You plug in your Ethernet for internet, and it's a hardware encoder to stream to, I think it can stream 2 or 3 destinations. So that's good, because if you're trying to stream, I'm not just talking about a Zoom meeting, but if you're trying to stream, that can take some resources on your computer, and you can offload that by using an ATEM. But the cool thing about the ATEM is that you can also use it as a webcam. So there's a USB that comes out the back. You just plug that into your computer. And when you join a Zoom meeting or Teams meeting, you just select the ATEM Mini as your camera, and you can switch cameras and scenes that way. So maybe if you want to have a separate laptop with your presentation and you want to have that as one source on your ATEM and switch between your camera and your, or put yourself in a little box and have your presentation behind you, it allows you to do those type of things. So that's another neat tool. And then beyond that, you can also do a sort of software-based solution like Ecamm, which only works for Mac, but it allows you to, do overlays, bring in guests, do live streaming, and you can also use it as a web camera as well. So that's a software solution, but it only works on Mac. And, if you're using your Mac with slides and web browsers, and it might eat up a lot of your sort of CPU resources if you don't have a decent Mac for that. But the other option, which I think is a really great option for anybody because it's absolutely free, and it's called OBS Studio, Open Broadcast Software. It is a open source video sort of broadcast software. So you can create scenes. Pretty much everything I'm doing right now, you could do in OBS. I'm not, because I use vMix, but when I started getting into this kind of stuff, the first thing I did was use OBS. And this is what a lot of, streamers, gamers, but a lot of people also in production use it for live streaming and various other things, recording podcasts, etc., even just recording your own screen on your computer. So I pre-recorded a little demo to actually show you how to use OBS. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you that, because it's really that easy, and it's a really great tool. So check this out, and we will be right back. All right, so this is OBS Studio. It is a open source free program which you can download off the internet. Can be very powerful, has a lot of third-party plugins you can get to do some pretty interesting stuff, but right as on its own, it's pretty powerful as it is. So I'm going to dig right in here quickly. So you got two sides here. You've got your preview and your program. So preview is where you're going to preview the next scene you want to cut to, and program is what's going out to your meeting or your live stream. So there's scenes and sources. So here, scenes, very easy to create. I'm going to create a scene 3, okay. And here I have, for each scene, there are sources. So let's say I want to start on my first source. I've already added a couple here, but I'm just going to show you how easy it is to do this. Let's say my webcam. I want to add in a webcam. I'm just going to add this plus sign, and I'm going to go to Video Capture Device, create new, call this webcam. Let's call it webcam 2 for now. Press OK. And then you just choose your camera, whichever one you have. Okay. So I'm going to just press cancel because I've already added that. I'm going to delete this one here. And so here's my webcam. I'm just going to make it visible. So there I am. And now I want to add a cool motion graphic as my background. So again, just add your source. I'm going to choose a media source, press OK, and then literally choose whatever video you want to put in the background, which I've already done. So I'm just going to cancel that. And I'm just going to make this visible now. Here's where you can play your media source. Oh, sorry, I'm clicking on the wrong one here. So I'm going to get rid of this one. And video background. There you go. So now I've got my video source, and I can actually, drag and drop things, move them around. I can transform and center to screen. There we go. So I've got my first scene, and here's where I'm going to put it into the program. So this is what's going out to everybody. And now I'm going to create a second scene that I can cut to. So scene 2 is where maybe I want to show a web page and also my camera. So I'm going to start with the web page. Actually, I'll put the background in here. So it's the exact same background I already loaded up. So I'm just going to make that visible. Okay, so there it is. Then I'm going to bring in my webcam again. Same process, just click on that, add your video capture, and there's my webcam. So I can bring this around, move it around, and then browser, which is pretty neat. Instead of doing a, window capture, I can do a browser and just put in the web address you want, and it'll pull in that browser input. So I'm going to get rid of this secondary one we just created, and there's my browser. Okay, it automatically made it square. I want to make it 1920 by 1080. Now it's made it really big. That's okay. I'm just going to move it around on the canvas here till I'm happy. And there you go. Stretch that out. And then on the right-hand side is where you have your controls. You can stream, you can record, and this one is really neat. So there's a virtual camera. So if I press Start Virtual Camera, and then I go over to Zoom, for example, and I want to use OBS in my Zoom meeting, I just press that Start Virtual Camera button. I open Zoom, and then from my camera options, I'm just going to select OBS Virtual Camera instead of your built-in webcam. So yeah, this is a really powerful tool, can totally up your game in your meetings, presentations. If you're doing education, teaching, this just makes things a lot easier to make them interesting and fun. So that's OBS. Now back to you, Arthur. Thanks, Arthur. Appreciate that. So yeah, I hope you found that helpful.